mentioned these conferences. What type of conferences should our listeners be looking for? Do they just go on the internet and type in REO conference?
I'll give you some of the larger ones. The Five Star Institute puts on, I think, 2 conferences a year, but their big one, I think, is in September. Then REO MAC has a couple big ones a year. REO Expo is another very large one. What I encourage people to do is go there, with your most extroverted foot forward, because where I've seen most agents grow their business, including myself, is not actually chasing the asset managers who might offhandedly give you a way in which happens. It's actually networking with agents in different marketplaces who have a strong relationship, because that business is no different than any other where people want a referral. I'll get calls from asset managers saying, hey, who do you know in Southern California? Or I just got Arizona. I need a good agent in Tucson who understands the guidelines of this specific bank. I know you do a lot of business with that bank. Send me someone who's in that network who knows what they're doing.
And you've met these people through these conferences? The people that you're going to refer?
Absolutely, yes. And that's actually part of one of the things I do. I network with top agents around the country for best practices. And one of the things, when you get to a very high producing level in your marketplace, one of the things you'll realize is there's no one in your marketplace that you can network with, because you're at the top of the food chain. So there's not too many people doing the volume that you're doing. So I've had to reach out into different marketplaces to, bounce ideas, best practices with other folks doing that kind of volume.
It sounds like the best way to break into this business is to meet someone in person at a conference, and as opposed to going directly to the bank, it would be to meet other top agents that are already working in the market.
I wouldn't say it's the best. I would say if you want to do REO, you need to be relentless in your desire to get into it, and you kind of have to do all of it.
Should agents go directly to asset managers? Is that, you kind of made it sound like that might be a mistake?
Only because I see how the typical agent does the approach, and I think it's almost downright rude, and they just kind of attack them at the conferences and shove a business card in their face. So if you can find a softer approach, that would probably be. But you got to think, just like any other form of marketing, these folks get emailed and called and cold called constantly, and just like in your retail practice, a warm referral is way more effective than a cold call.
So try to figure out a way to get referred in to that asset manager as opposed to just knocking on the door.
Absolutely. One of the things I tell agents who say they want to get into REO, and I said, before you go looking up strangers, call everybody you know and say, who do you know or you're related to that works in banking and foreclosures? And I've heard stories time and time again across the country from someone who said, that's exactly how I got in. I was just asking, and it turned out my sister's college roommate now runs so-and-so bank, and that's how they got in. So you don't even know who you know in your own network.
And that's how you started, isn't it? You were making phone calls trying to drum up business, and you kind of bumped into it.
Exactly.
How many listing assignments, REO assignments, do you typically get in a week or a month?
It varies. Last year we were right around 30 to 35 assignments average. So some months we did 15, and one month we had as high as 50. This year it's been a little bit above 20, but that's expected with all the regulations that went into place and the slowdown. And that's actually one of the reasons why I tell everybody, I don't care if you're one of the best REO agents in the country, you need to maintain a retail base, because moratoriums happen, legal stuff happens. How many times do we keep hearing of Congress introducing bills into Congress to take Fannie and Freddie apart or to merge them? That's the newest bill that went into, presented into the Congress this week.
So there's constant change going on in that market.
Absolutely. And one of the things I tell people, and I try to remember constantly, is no one's entitled to this business. It showed up. I'm grateful for it, but there's nothing that says that I deserve my unfair share of it. So I'm grateful for it. And if it leaves tomorrow, you need to be able to ramp your business up and down just as quickly, and be transparent with the folks that you bring onto this. If you're bringing people onto an REO business unit, say, hey, I tell my folks, I will be as open book as possible. I'll teach you anything you want to learn about the business, but just understand that when this is over, if you don't have any other skill sets, you're going to have to find something else to do. But, while you're with me, I encourage you to get licensed, go on listing appointments with me, go on buyer appointments, because those skill sets are invaluable and can be used in any market.
And you've been flexible through your career with your career background. You've had to do that. You've had to shift markets as things changed.
Absolutely. I mean, Gary Keller wrote the book Shift, and it's very basic concepts. And I think that's the key to real estate is somewhat forecasting what the next shift is going to be, which is difficult. But in order to do it, even if you don't catch it when it starts shifting, just have a business model that can shift accordingly very quickly, no matter which way it goes. So scalability is probably the word I'm looking for.